to Mindshock for another live Flat Earth Q&A. Taking all comers, any and all questions on this fascinating topic of Flat Earth that just won't die. A lot of goofs are saying Flat Earth is dead. I mean, most of these anti-Flat Earth grifters, I mean, they're creating entire channels, dedicating full time to a topic that they consider dead. I mean, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? It really kind of exposes their mental capacity or lack thereof, doesn't it? As always, if you enjoy the Mindshock channel, enjoy these live Q&As, and want to help logic and reason return to a world where it is quickly going extinct, which is painfully obvious in any kind of flat earth discussions or debates, of course, you can donate to our PayPal. Just check the link in the description. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube, help support the channel. That way, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell for notifications. If that's not working, just like, share, comment, interact more with the channel. Apparently, that's how the YouTube algorithm works, or is supposed to work when it's working, which might not be very often. Like and share Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case topic, logical analysis, co-podcast, or request. You can also be a guest in the podcast depending on your tier. Okay, so let's see who's here. We got some of the usual suspects in here. Boggin, Pinto Sack, Wisco Matt. I don't remember seeing you in here unless you had a different username before. Crushing Family Life, Sphinx Bear. Haven't seen you in a bit. The True Few. Boggin says, who else can't wait for Austin to debate Not a Professor Dave in June? He said he would slice him up and go for the jugular. No, that's still going to be painful. Like, is it simply just time for Farina's next Illuminati humiliation ritual? Like, you have to wonder, are all these anti-Flat Earth grifters, are they simply these pawns, these establishment pawns and mouthpieces that also have to go through the ringer like a lot of these so-called Hollywood elites, where, you know, instead of wearing a dress, they have to humiliate themselves online in flat earth debates? I mean, is that their version? Is this like the online influencer version of Illuminati humiliation rituals? Because, I mean, we got Dave Farina, we got Fight the Flat Earth Craig. I mean, this guy. I mean, what a goof. You got, what was the recent guy? I had to censor his chest because so many people were complaining in the chat from, you know, the soy side effects. Soy Lodge, yes, Soy Lodge coming out of the woodwork as an anti-flat earth grifter. Are these all just Illuminati humiliation rituals for influencers? Is that the point we've reached here in 2024? McToon, of course. How could people forget McLooney Tune? Tiffany Vinci in here. Hello. I don't think I've seen you in a bit either. Phantom says, does anyone know if Bart Cybrell's a flat earther? I heard him do an interview on the Flat Earth Files. I have not seen that. I can check it out. I'm gonna have to check that out. What did they talk about on Rogan? Huh. Looks like they did. They talked about the moon landing being staged. Do you guys want to go over that right now? I mean, I have some clips I want to go over too, but if you guys want to go over Cybrell on Rogan on the moon landing, I have the clip of them debating the moon landing. Do you guys want to go over that? Oh, Iron Horse in here. Hello. Hold the front 777 asking, is it actually going to happen? That'd be very entertaining. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't believe it. I won't believe that Farina's going to show up for the humiliation ritual until it's rolling. Elaine Lowell in here. Flat Earth is indeed a great subject, especially if you want to develop logic and reason. Justin Johnson in the house, no longer on the ball. Boggin says they're going to do the debate on the quartering 1.5 million subs. Yeah, I don't know anything about the quartering. What kind of channel is that? Thank you, Lowry. Flat Bob in here. The True Few asking, will we see you on the debate stage at some point, Bruce? Well, I've addressed this many, many times. I don't have a problem with debating. I've done quite a bit of debating myself. I have more fun. Honestly, I think I'd have more fun as a moderator, simply because calling out fallacies. I mean, I could do that in debate, live in debate as well, call out the fallacies, but it would have to be a format that works. We've been developing a format here on Mindshock. I think was it, let's see, someone volunteered to do the first one, the inaugural Mindshock debate, which will of course have to be a flat earth debate. I don't think they're in the chat right now. It was, let me see who it was. Let's see if I can find it. I'm not seeing it. Let's see if I can find. I think it was Real Offended, actually. Real Offended, I think, volunteered to do the first one. I'll moderate a debate on Mindshock here, but again, I would require a quiz with the basics, and if participants are disqualified, they don't get to debate. So, because there's no point in going in circles like most of these debates, because there are fundamental flaws in not understanding what the scientific method is, the basic definitions of words, or even basic fallacies. So that's an issue. Sphinx Bear says, isn't Austin debating Soy Lodge soon with Owen Benjamin as a moderator? What? That's got train wreck written all over it. Wow. Okay, let's see. Yeah, do you guys want to go over it? Okay, so... Alright, yeah, we can go over it. I haven't heard it, so I'll be listening, blind here, going over a blind review. Big Pine Sailing, Bart is a staunch space believer, secret space program. Yeah, some people get really emotionally invested in certain conspiracies like that, like secret space program, breakaway civilizations living on Mars. I mean, you know what's crazy though? It could still be true. If you haven't checked out the Antarctica podcast, check that out. If, let's say, Mars, what you see in the sky is a reflection of something on some kind of near infinite plane, or a different Earth pond, a different pond circle on this plane or realm or whatever Earth is. I don't claim anything is true or untrue. Whatever this realm is, perhaps Mars is on this realm, but way farther away. It's a pond farther away, and the reflection of that pond is in the sky. So when we look and see Mars in the sky, it's a reflection, just like the reflection of the Earth and the Moon. But who knows? So again, just like people who are really invested in UFOs and aliens, that could all be true. They could just be coming from ponds farther away. So I think a lot of people don't understand that they don't, even if they're emotionally invested, they don't necessarily have to give up those theories with a flat Earth cosmology. Hold the Front says, you really have to hold a position to debate, and if he does take a position that kind of negates the point of neutral reviews. I mean, I could argue either side of any theory. Obviously, defending the globe is a little bit problematic, but Yeah, I mean, depending on which flat Earth model you defend, that could be problematic as well. Heracles says Bruce Whitsitt wants you to moderate his debate with not a Professor David. Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to Whitsitt. I kind of mentioned that I don't think Professor Dave would agree to take a quiz where he could be disqualified, because then the debate wouldn't even happen. And I don't think Austin wants that either, because Austin wants it to happen, because obviously, the gold mine of content that would come from that. But just, again, principally, I wouldn't be able to moderate a debate where because so-called Professor Dave, he hasn't even demonstrated a preschool level English comprehend. If he cannot demonstrate it, how can we start the debate? Phantom says the Soy Lodge said Flat Earth Dave and Eric Dubay was not bright, and said Eric was a Nazi. Interesting. Hold the Front says it would be funny to see Mindshock cover how Lore Lodge debunked Flat Earth with logic and reasoning. I think, did they do 2 videos? I did one. I did one video on Lore Lodge. I have one more to go, but I know you guys can't blame me. I need to recover from that first one. Make sure the censor bar is in order as well. Pinto Sag asks, what kind of questions are on the quiz? We went over this on the Mindshock debate platform podcast. I think you were in the chat, maybe. Basically, whatever the subject of the debate is, the critical. So, for example, if it's a flat Earth debate, you need to be able to give a definition of science, scientism, the scientific method. You need to, again, if whatever's going to be discussed in the debate, if it's gravity, you need to be able to define gravity. And you need to have an understanding of basic logical fallacies. Not all of them, but maybe 5, 10 of them, and they can be on the screen the whole time. And yeah, I mean, nothing crazy. I mean, just children's level stuff. But if they can't pass, they don't get the debate, because what's the point? All right, well, we're gonna start. We'll start with Rogan and Cybrel, and then we'll go from there. Because I haven't seen this yet, so it'll be interesting. Rogan's such a goof, though. For those that haven't seen, I think it was around 6 hours. I did a logical analysis of Joe Rogan versus Eddie Bravo. I mean, Joe Rogan just exposed himself as such a scientism cultist, just absolutely, utterly clueless. Boggin, how do you were kind of guessing what I have prepped for tonight. You're spoiling the show, Boggin. Alright, let's start with Rogan here. Do people still call him Rogaine? I remember that was a thing for a while. So, yeah, let's see what we got here.
The Joe Rogan Experience. So this is the one. He hops by, and as he hops by, the breeze makes the flag blow.
I mean, are they really going to be going over the silly stuff? Like, they never focused on the actual, like, EMF extraction, you know, the time delay, the how the signals were actually transmitted.
Because he's in an air environment. He's not on the moon.
Right. That is a weird one. Do it again. Look at this. As he hops by, he doesn't touch the flag.
Now, can I do devil's advocate? What do you call it? Steel what?
Steel man.
Okay, the reason why it's doing that, and really on the moon, is because there's micrometeorites hitting him, and they're bouncing off of him and hitting the flag.
Wait, micrometeorites? Wow.
What?
Is that a pretty good one?
Is that real?
No.
Oh, I thought they were trying that one.
I was trying to come up with an excuse.
Ah, okay. Well, that is in line with the scientism cult, trying to come up with excuses like that.
As to why the moon landings are real. You like that one?
That is a good one. Micrometeorites will mess you up.
Well, actually, von Braun, we found publications of his. Mind you, my film cost $1 million. It was financed by a board member of an aerospace company who builds rockets for NASA, who knows it's fake, who gave me $1 million to produce these films as his patriotic duty to expose it. We found documentation from von Braun that says every 24 hours on the moon, there's a 50% chance of a catastrophic, deadly error because of decompression from a micrometeorite. So they were there 3 days. They were 150% chance they would have been killed from a micrometeorite. Grain of sand traveling through space at 25,000 miles an hour.
Well, not just that, just the life support system in the suit. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong other than micrometeorites, if those are even real.
He said you would have to immediately go into a cave once you landed. They never did that.
Lowry says, you've already got a gatekeeper in Rogan. You've got a spaceball guy who loves space, but knows we didn't land on the moon. This is totally going to be weird.
He also said in writing, in order to go to the moon in one rocket, he says that cannot happen. You need 3 rockets, each being 10 times the tonnage of the Queen Mary, or some 800,000 tons each.
Well, that definitely sounds a little bit more plausible, doesn't it?
In order to go to the moon. And the Saturn V was 2,500 tons, not 800,000 tons. We have that in writing.
That was from his book, right? And
That's
what year
right.
was that?
I think that came out in 1959, and then he recanted on his math shortly thereafter by 30,000%.
Well, clearly they know what they're doing with those kinds of margins of error.
And now Elon Musk wants to, quote, return to the moon. And he says to return to the moon, we need to make 9 fuel trips first to ferry the fuel necessary to be able to go to the moon from there. That's exactly what von Braun said in one of my clips at Sabrel.com. You have to make multiple fuel trips to go to the moon first to a space station, and then from there you can go. Elon Musk said the same thing. But how did they do it with a rocket that contained 1/30,000% of the amount of fuel von Braun said it would?
I wonder if Rogan is going to address anything he just said. I really do wonder. Let's see.
One of my favorite films is the film of the lunar module leaving the moon.
So, no, he didn't address anything that was said.
When it leaves, when the camera pans, and it looks, let's show it. Let's show what year was that? Which
I think that was one of the last missions, and I think you're talking about where the camera perfectly tilts up.
Lowry says, this is so weird. 2 guys talking that kind of know they're lying to themselves. So friggin' weird. It's like a really well-written Broadway show. Wow. Master thespians.
Yeah.
with the little model going up.
Yes.
And of course, with the delay, how could you synchronize that? Of course, you couldn't.
Well, you could, because you know it's 4 seconds, right? Just like it's radio waves.
Well, but it
What? He just said radio waves the way people say gravity. Oh, it worked because radio waves. I mean, Joe Rogan doesn't seem to understand how any of the waves even work. If he thinks, I mean, I would like him to explain how a live signal was transmitted from the moon to Earth. Again, if you guys haven't listened to the Apollo series on Mindshock, the latest episode, I actually went over with Professor Smith, actually, on what would have been required to send the signal that distance, and what kind of wiring would be required on the moon just to get that all set in order to send the signal. Like a news truck has all these tons of cables just and a giant antenna just to send the signal a few blocks down to the studio to broadcast. I mean, just imagine what would be required from the moon.
probably be more than that going through all the analog equipment.
Right, but you could time it. You could say you could have a 5-second delay. So this is it. So this is launching off the. Watch this.
And it's perfectly tilting up with it in real time.
It's just
with the remote control from NASA with the radio delay that I suspect would be more like 12 seconds.
But also
because today, if you say to someone in Atlanta talking to someone in Iraq, "Hey, how's it going?" 1, 2, 3. Hey, I'm doing fine.
What if they just
That's
put a
with
timer on it?
that's just on
you can
halfway
put a
around the
timer on it.
world.
You can put the panning is interesting, but you could put a timer on it. The thing looking so goofy is so crazy. Like that thing is supposed to get off 1/6 Earth gravity and fly like that. How? What's it doing? It looks so fucking fake. It looks like it's being pulled by strings. Look, it might be real. I'm certainly not an astronaut. I don't know what I'm talking about.
So he clearly doesn't know what he's talking about, the time delay or the radio waves either. But listen to how confident he was and how they could have rigged it with the time delay. Now all of a sudden he's saying, well, obviously appealing to credentials fallacies, appeal to authority fallacies. But still, he clearly says he doesn't know what he's talking about. But listen to the confidence in his voice he had on how they could have rigged it with a time delay.
But if you had a guess, if you showed this to me and said, "Hey, do you think this is real or fake?" and you didn't give me any context, I'd be like, "What is this? A cheap science fiction movie?"
So context. So Rogan he needs an appeal to authority fallacy. He needs his blankie. He needs the establishment scientism cult to tell him it's from NASA, because then he'll believe it. But without the context, so he just made a glaring admission here. I mean, Rogan just admitted how much of a mentally weak cultist goof he is. He needs context. He needs his string puller to tell him what to think about it. He doesn't have enough mental wherewithal. He doesn't have enough mental capacity to judge that clip for himself without context. Wow, I don't think I've ever heard Rogan expose himself quite like this before. I mean, this is kind of crazy. I mean, this admission is, the need for his coincidence theorist blankie, his authority-worshipping cultist blankie.
What is this? And then here it goes. Like, that's leaving a planet? How's it leaving? Is that some new space technology? Where's the fire coming out of the bottom of it? How's it doing that? I mean, it just looks fake. It might be real. It might be one of those things that is real but looks fake.
All right, see, so then
Right?
this is where it gets weirder, because it doesn't say the timer. It said somebody in Houston had to anticipate the timing, ignition, liftoff, which I guess he could have guessed it was going to be in 5 seconds and just lifted the remote control over.
Could he have guessed?
I have no idea what he was using. I have to look that up.
I guess you could guess if you say, "I'm going to launch
Also, if they timed
in
it.
5," and so then you count 10, because he's gonna say, you got like a 5.
Wait, I don't know what that goof Jamie just looked up. It's not a guess. They claimed it was a very definitive remote control. I went over this on the Apollo series on Mindshock. It was not a guess. Yeah, Jamie is such a goof. He got so triggered with Eddie Bravo, he got to mention that he got an A in physics class while being too utterly clueless to know the basic definition of anything being discussed.
Second delay. And so when he gets to, like, if he counts down from 10, if he gets to 5, you hit it.
Well, there's a 3-second delay today, halfway around the world with modern equipment, talking from like Atlanta to Iraq.
Right.
3-second delay.
He also could have fucked it up.
Only halfway around the world with modern equipment.
He has to say it. So the guy on the moon has to say, I'm launching now, and he has to wait 5 seconds.
It would be at least a 12-second delay, I think, and possibly more than that. The delay itself of the radio, light waves there and back, plus all that analog equipment.
But it is not impossible to do a 12-second delay. It's only 12 seconds. If you had a stopwatch and you counted it and
Well, no. That's 12 seconds if you have the proper equipment, which might require a radio broadcasting tower much larger than any building on Earth on the moon in order to transmit that signal. So it's not just, it might be 12 seconds if you had the equipment. But obviously Rogan too utterly clueless to consider any of that.
you had a far enough vision where you could see the base of the lunar module, you could see it detach, and then you kind of got it as long as you got enough of a field of view in the footage. But boy, it looks fake. It also looks fake in the way it's moving up. Watch it again, Jamie, because it's moving up like it's being pulled by strings.
Well, it looks fake because it is fake.
But
Look at Rogan getting triggered. Look at Rogan's expression. It looks fake because it is fake. I mean, what a shocker. Who could have thunk it? Who could have thunk that something might be fake that looks fake? That just might be too out there for Rogan. It might be too out there of a concept for Joe Rogan. His goofery never fails to astound. I mean,
most things that look fake are fake.
Wow. The intellectual powerhouse, Joe Rogan. Most things that look fake are fake.
Not all of them, but the vast majority of things that look fake are fake. Now watch how this pulls up. Here it goes.
It's a real meeting of the minds here.
It detaches. It's like... What is that? Now, here's the question. Did they practice this at all on Earth? Did they practice taking off on one of those things? Or could they?
I don't think they
because
did. They
couldn't.
practiced landing.
But here's the question. They
yeah.
couldn't, right? Because it wouldn't have the same amount of thrust on Earth because the gravity is so much stronger. So that thing wouldn't have been operational on Earth, right?
The gravity is so much stronger. Circular reasoning, logical fallacy, false premise. Just the amount of fallacies Rogan spews. It would probably take me weeks to redo the Rogan Eddie Bravo logical analysis with the counters.
Right.
Well, they had a lunar lander simulator that Neil Armstrong almost got killed in 6 weeks beforehand. He couldn't fly it on Earth in the safety of a tried and true environment, and that was 6 weeks.
Right, but also,
beforehand.
again, the gravity of Earth is much greater than the gravity of the moon.
Well, they took that into account. It was supposed to be a simulation of it. But
so
the
it was more
simulation-
powerful to overcome Earth's gravity in
Right.
comparison.
Right.
Yeah. But so then you're dealing with a totally different machine, and you're dealing with totally different factors. Maybe it would be easy with 1/6 Earth's gravity.
Yeah, maybe it'd be easy. Maybe it'd be so easy they should just film all movies shot on the moon, taking place on the moon, because it's so much easier. Neil deGrasse Tyson's blunder. It would be easier to go. It would be harder to fake it than to go for real. So according to Neil deGrasse Tyson's so-called logic, they should just film all movies that take place on the moon. If it's on Mars, just film it on Mars, because it's too hard to fake it. The level of gophery here, it's just off the charts gophery.
Maybe easy, like wee, boom, it lands, and wee,
Apparently,
it takes off.
apparently it was.
But 1/6, I would like to know, like, how much thrust do you need to get off of the gravity of the moon?
I'm gonna put a clip here. This is one of my favorite clips from my Apollo series on Mindshock what a real moon landing would really look like. Relative to the difference in gravity. Oh, YouTube's starting to play some games here. It doesn't want me to put up the clip. The games have begun. Oh, this is so annoying, but I will get it on the screen because I cannot be stopped. Just gonna take a couple extra seconds here. Again, this is one of my favorite clips. Just for all the goofs that hallucinate that there's nothing strange. That there's nothing strange in the footage and that everything is the way it's supposed to be.
Gravity, the difference in gravity, and they've done simulations. You can find CGI footage of what it would look like to walk and jump on the moon at 1/6 gravity, and it does not look like what the moon footage looks like. Not to mention, you have, I mean, we'll get into the specific details in each episode, but you have things that don't even match the known laws of physics in that footage regarding the landers and all of those things, which again we'll go into in specifics. But if that footage looks relatively fake and people are supposed to take it on blind faith, that's problematic for scientific minded individuals. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Well, we have to do a separate podcast, Bruce, on this because what this is actually entering into is what is referred to as the pack mentality, and there's different types of mentalities. There's A-type, mentalities. There's pack-minded
JR spinning his wheels is hilarious.
mentality, where you're either a true believer or you're not a true believer. It could be a cult, or it could be, a church, or it could be a, let me ask you a question. The mafia, there are people that blindly follow and join into an organized, what the government would refer to as a RICO-based organization. They do it blindly. They might have reasons. They might have starving babies. They might need money. They might need this. They might need that. You've seen, and I'm sure that a lot of your podcast people have seen, movies where, there's that, crying guy in the interrogation where he
Look at that
says you
magic
can't say
lip.
no to these people. Now, let me ask you a question. To an organization that can print its own money, has its own military, and has the ability to basically vaporize, based on nuclear war, what it wants at will.
So you see there, when you just change the frame rate, you can see that they shot it on Earth, and then they just slowed it down. Because obviously, if it was 1/6 gravity, he'd be going 6 times higher.
Has its own military, and has the
I mean, he would be going way higher than that.
to basically vaporize, based on nuclear war, what it wants at will. How do you say no to those people?
I mean, a lot of goofs don't understand. 600% difference. That's a lot. I mean, look at NASA's own simulation. Look at NASA's own simulation of 1/6. Look at that height. And of course, the moon footage looks identical to anything shot on Earth. I mean, I've never seen a rebuttal for this from the NASA bootlickers. I've never seen the only thing they say is, oh, he's wearing kind of a heavier suit. So yeah, he's wearing a heavier suit, so it wouldn't be quite as high as the simulation. It would be a little bit lower than the simulation, but clearly not exactly the way it looks shot on Earth. Just trying to catch up with the comments here. So yeah, I mean the heavy suit only goes so far. I did the math on the suit. It would if the suit is roughly, I mean we could double check it again now. So it was about 110 pounds. So not even the weight. The average astronaut was 175 pounds. So not even the weight of the astronaut. So yeah, it would be a little bit lower than the simulation due to the weight. But not the same exact look as on Earth. I mean, the level of gophery. Alright, let's continue here.
If it's 1/6 Earth's gravity versus what it takes to get off of Earth, like what are those calculations, and how is that amount of force being generated by that thing, and is it? Because that would be a really good question.
Look at this goof's face. I mean, this goof is mentally gone. I mean, he's mentally gone. Whatever semblance of a functioning human seems to have left that vessel quite some time ago.
Because if you can't prove that you could do that, like, how do you do that?
Well, this is one reason why NASA destroyed all the schematics, all the electronics, all the diagrams of the equipment, because you could later prove that the lunar module, see, they claimed that the lunar module was powering air conditioning on a bank of car batteries and competed against 250 degrees outside and got it down to a comfortable 72.
I didn't even look at that yet. That's funny. That's funny.
For 3 or 4 days.
That's kind of hilarious.
I mean, you try that at home, you know, with your car batteries.
Also, batteries of today. Like my
That's right.
Tesla only goes 350 miles
That's
if I
right.
drive real slow.
And so they're saying they powered air conditioning off much more primitive batteries, 24 hours, 3 or 4 days in a row, against 250 degree outside. So this is an indirect proof.
If it's 215 degrees, the air conditioner's not going to do anything. What's it going to do? Bring it down to 200? They said they brought it down to the 70s? What? I mean, that does seem like a tall tale.
You really went to the moon and spent $200 billion.
I mean, when it's over 100 out, like, what does your air conditioner actually get down? It doesn't work as well. The higher the temperature, the less the air conditioner can do. Because it just takes too much energy. I mean, when it's 80 out, your AC can probably drop it quite a bit. When it's 90, not so much. When it's over 100, I mean, your AC would be lucky to get it down to 90. I mean, we're talking about regular ACs here, but still.
You would never destroy the technology. But one of the clips we have is them saying that they intentionally destroyed all of the equipment to go to the moon. All the diagrams, all the hardware, all the schematics, all the original telemetry of where the rocket was at the time, and all the original videotapes. Ron Howard's grandfather warned him the moon landings were fake. He didn't listen. He wanted to make an IMAX movie. He went to NASA, said, give me all the originals so I can transfer it to HD, and project it at 120 feet wide. They said, give us a couple of days. And in those days, they lost every single original videotape from every single Apollo mission.
I actually didn't know that story. So they conveniently only lost it when specifically asked for it to be converted to high def on an IMAX screen. Wow. I mean, I don't think anybody here is surprised. I'm not surprised that's how the timing worked out. That's how the timing, they only lost it after they were asked for it for high def large screen projection. That's curious. I wonder what all the coincidence theorists would say to that.
Now, if you really went to the moon and spent $200 billion, the last thing you would do is destroy that technology. But if you perpetrated a fraud, that's exactly what you would do.
So
That's another good point, too. Like a lot of coincidence theorists, authority worshipping cultists, bootlickers, they never look at it from the perspective of if it's fraud, what actions would have been taken, and do they match the actions that were taken? Coincidence theorists will never, they're too mentally weak to even approach it from that angle, from a logical, objective, neutral angle.
was this, Jamie?
I think video of them practicing.
So is this
This is landing, but not
landing?
taking
Is
off.
that there's Neil Armstrong?
It's the same machine. I believe.
So this is the one that he was practicing on that he almost died in. Look at that thing! Wow, that's crazy.
There's also an article I found about how they filmed it. They tried on Apollo 15 and 16 and failed for different reasons, and then they finally got it right on 17.
So it was a timing thing. So several second delay. Here it goes. The cameras were very successful capturing the images of numerous EVAs, but while they could be controlled from Houston, it was felt that several second delay between Earth and the moon would make capturing the module's ascent impossible. So the plan was to pre-program the camera and hope that NASA camera operator in Houston, Ed Fendel, got his timing just right. On Apollo 15, the tilt mechanism malfunctioned, meaning the camera was never panned upwards, and thus the lunar module rapidly accelerated upwards and out of the picture. On Apollo 16 mission, the astronauts actually parked the rover in the wrong place, so while the cameras worked perfectly.
I mean, the fact that they parked, or even it was alleged that they parked it in the wrong place, if they even were on the moon, I mean, that just really shows how much could go wrong. And that was one of the main points I brought up in episode 1 of the Apollo missions on Mindshock was they would never take the chance to broadcast it live just because if something went wrong, it just doesn't seem like they would ever take that chance. It's too, I mean, it was practically guaranteed that, I mean, even without von Braun's calculations, I mean, look at what happens here on Earth, or some of these deep sea divers. I mean, tragedies happen all the time. For something this unprecedented, it was practically guaranteed that there would be casualties. So why would they live stream their casualties and failures during the Cold War? It's weird.
It was too close to the module, and again, once it lit up the engines, it accelerated swiftly out of picture. Happily,
We got Sean Hawkins in the chat, psychologically projecting. Interesting. Your psychological projection is not a fallacy because your subconscious knows you best. So, yeah, continue exposing yourself if you have nothing else to do. I love the Dunning-Kruger goofs who come in here and prove the points against themselves better than anybody else ever could.
Apollo 17 got everything right. But what is perhaps most remarkable about looking back on it was that no one realized the significance of the liftoff at the time. Persistent rumors suggest that NASA had to pay the networks to cover Apollo.
Sean Hawkins continuing the projection. So you're dodging your subconscious exposing you? You're too mentally weak to address it? You have to dodge and call yourself a retard? I mean, I don't think anybody here is disputing your subconscious description of yourself. So, I mean, who are you trying to convince here? I mean, nobody's arguing with your subconscious here.
17 mission at all. And when final liftoff of humanity from the moon took place, it barely raised a mention on that evening's news reports. That's a really important point, too, because people were really tired of it. Like, they were mad that it was interrupting I Dream of Jeannie.
I Love Lucy.
Oh, that's what it was. I Love Lucy. Yeah.
Well, that's from Wikipedia that continually defends the fake moon landings.
Space Ghost 90 says, I love that Bruce is bringing Joe Rogan to light. Have you listened to the Joe Rogan versus Eddie Bravo breakdown? It's about 6 hours of just Rogan getting exposed. Sean Hawkins, I don't know. Your subconscious doesn't seem to show that you can do better than projecting, but I mean, if you can, go ahead. I mean, we love the laughs here. Dunning-Kruger goofs, always welcome here.
fact, if you type in moon landing fraud, you don't get anything about the fraud. You get 1,000 videos defending, the supposed moon missions. Now, if the moon missions are real, then anyone who says otherwise is an idiot.
Okay, so how did they defend?
If I were going around saying George Washington was not the first president, it was really Mickey Mouse, do you think there'd be 1,000 videos to reassure people that George Washington was the first president?
Oh, he makes this point. I've made this point a million times. People aren't gonna spend all this time and energy on something that's silly nonsense. Like, how many full-time anti-Mothman grifters are there? Or even anti-Bigfoot? Or anti-ghost?
Not Mickey Mouse, but there's 1,000 videos out there that took tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of hours to produce to defend the moon landings. If it's so obvious, they should speak for themselves. It has to be continually supported because it's made out of straw. That's why.
So the lunar module leaving the surface of the
I like how Rogan completely ignored everything he just said.
moon, how did they practice that? If it was the first time they ever pulled that off, the first time they ever tried it? Was that Apollo 11?
Yeah, trendy now, but here's the thing. How many dedicated full-time channels are there to trying to prove that ghosts aren't real? I mean, full-timers. So-called debunking all of the ghost evidence. Man, Sean Hawkins' subconscious really exposing him. His subconscious really doesn't like him, humiliating himself like this in the chat. Wow, sad.
Used a simulation.
But did they do that on the moon?
Well, they couldn't practice. They
Right,
had to
so-
do
but
it for the first time. They did it
they have the
flawlessly every
ability?
single time.
Did they have the ability to land something on the moon and have it take off remotely? Did they have that kind of control back then?
No, I don't think so.
Probably not, right? So if they did, if Apollo 11 did happen and they did take off, and that time they did it was the first time anybody had ever tried to use one of those things to get off the surface of the moon.
Worked every time
With a
flawlessly.
person in it.
With a person in it, with two people in it. Three.
They landed
No, two. Two people in it, one person in the lunar orbiter.
10 were launched into space. Of those, 6 landed by humans onto the moon. First 2 were flown tests in low Earth orbit without a crew at the.
Man, Jamie sounds even more mentally disabled than he did with Eddie Bravo. Did he get some kind of medical treatments or something? What's wrong with Jamie? I mean, he sounds mentally just absolutely disabled, talking slow, just not a lot of comprehension on anything. He sounds a lot worse than he used to.
Apollo, though.
Let's talk about the AI discovery. You know about that, right?
But hold on, before we get going. So the first 2 were in America?
Dress rehearsal for the landing was Apollo 10 and then conducted on Apollo 11.
And so is there footage of them trying that thing?
Apollo 10?
No, just having it launch on Earth. I'd be fascinated to see what it looks like. How that thing gets into the air. Because if they were able to make a lunar lander that Neil Armstrong got in, that thing that looked very different than the ones that were on the moon. But that thing, if he's doing that to try to overcome the 6 times gravity that Earth has over the moon, what does that look like when they're testing that thing? Like, how much thrust does it have? And where is the engine? Where is the rockets that propel that thing into space? Like, where do you fit those? This is my question. And so how did they explain that away? Like, what is the conventional explanation as to how that thing had the amount of power that was required to get off of the moon's gravity, get away from the moon, and fly to Earth?
Well, how did they do it with 1/30,000th of a percent of the fuel that von Braun said they had to? Why is it today, to quote, return to the moon, you have to make 9 fuel trips to be able to go to the moon and return, but somehow they did it in 1 trip?
Rogan just ignores all these points and is goofery. Trendy Now says Joe Rogan is the guy in the Matrix movie that snitches in the steak eating scene. Yeah, he doesn't want to know he's in the Matrix. Yeah, Space Ghost 90, check it out. I did a logical analysis on Eddie Bravo versus Joe Rogan. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll drop the link in here in a second. Okay, yeah, here it is. Okay, while we're on the subject of the moon landing, we could look at this other video. This is the other video I wanted to go over, and then we'll go to the main course after this one. This is also a robot polisher video. The one and only robot polisher.
Explain why we're not getting to see these images live. The Apollo 11 landing was broadcast live. Why
now don't we have the technology to see all of this live?
This ain't easy.
It's not easy. Space is hard, but the moon is harder.
Wait, it's not easy, so they can't do what was done so many decades ago. I mean, almost half a century, they can't do it?
Picture on the TV. Got a good picture, huh?
He's on the moon.
And the second man is on the moon. Hey, you got it? That's a good step. Yeah. Beautiful. Got something?
We've just got a report from Poland, Czechoslovakia, and Romania that the picture quality there is very good.
The picture quality is very good, transmitting from the moon in 1969.
Neil Armstrong getting ready to move the TV.
I mean, we could speculate. We could speculate on why the year chosen was 1969. You could flip the two nines upside down.
We're now out to the panorama position. Okay, as far as distance goes, Neil, and we'll line you up again when you finish the panorama. You got a picture here. Well, we've got a beautiful picture.
Beautiful picture of what? I mean, that looks like some kind of sci-fi movie.
Well.
In terms of more media release, yes, absolutely.
We're working towards improving that. Trying to get you surface photos, because I know that everyone's hungry for those surface photos. More cameras. The message is loud and clear. It would be great to get a picture.
So it's, okay, it's not just the fact that they couldn't do it, but what do you think all of the people that worked on the original Apollo missions, whether they were in on it or not, maybe most of them weren't in on it, what do you would think, not just of the content of the information here, but the way it's being delivered? I mean, you got these overweight soy goofs saying it's hard, crying about how it's hard and they can't do it. I mean, where's the integrity? Where is the dignity of your position? I mean, where is it? Because in on it or not, there was a certain amount of professionalism and dignity that the individuals involved in the original Apollo missions carried themselves with, whether they were faking it or not. Like, look what the world has come to. Goofs like this, crying about how it's hard to get a picture in 2024 with technology vastly more advanced than anything that existed in 1969.
We have that in the works, so more great imagery from the moon. Video and pretty pictures. We're as eager to see those images as the public is.
I mean, wow. Wow.
Obviously,
You can't make this stuff up. I mean, these guys look like comedians who are acting like buffoons. I mean, real life has become satire. Like, is this satire? Is real life indistinguishable from satire? This looks like a comedy skit that would have been on Mad TV a decade or two ago, where these goofs couldn't get picture from the moon.
You know, imagery, we love it.
They're sputtering and stuttering. I mean, these are the people involved in this alleged cutting edge new moon landing in 2024.
Share it as much as we can. We want to record it, but if we're having issues getting it off of the vehicle,
Unfortunately, we just did not have time to go fix that.
I mean, they don't have time. They didn't know them. I mean, the mission was delayed how many decades, and they didn't have time. I mean, you could argue maybe if they made their first deadline. I mean, I don't know. It was delayed how many years? I mean, look at these ghost faces. I mean, this real life has become indistinguishable from satire.
It's going to take a little bit of time.
there is a capacity that we share, you know, and we're being as transparent as we can.
There's a capacity that we share. What does that even mean? Capacity to do what? Nothing? Not get stuff done? The capacity to not get stuff done? What? I mean, look at this guy's face. I mean, these guys look like politicians completely out of their element, and more like satire actors playing politicians.
In here,
A little slower than we might have wanted.
Some hardware problems.
Not pointing at Earth. Data flows out of mission control in a very sporadic way.
Data flows out of mission control in a sporadic way. So they don't have a controlled environment where they control the data. What have they been doing? What have they been doing with the hundreds of billions of dollars over the decades?
there are many other customers, science customers, that use the Deep Space Network. Actually slows the effort to share things with the team.
Wait, so he's blaming other science customers overloading the network on why they can't get images? Is that like when you call Comcast and they say, well, the other customers in the area are slowing your speed down? But even Comcast is not going to get away with literally zero signal. I mean, at some point, if it's a little slow, it took a little longer. But honestly, like if you have zero signal, you call Comcast and they say, well, the other customers are just using all the bandwidth. That doesn't mean you have zero. I mean, you should at least have some kind of signal. I mean, he literally blamed it on other science customers while these guys had hundreds of billions of dollars.
A number of issues with file transfers.
File transfers. I mean, this guy's just going, science customers, I mean, this is worse than my dog ate my homework excuses from kids that forgot to do their homework in 3rd grade. I mean, what is going on here?
We did have a number of communications glitches. We had either forward or return link problems.
He doesn't even know forward or return links, bro. Like, he didn't even do an audit. Like, they don't even know whether the problem is the data going out or in. I mean, even Geek Squad at a Best Buy could tell you that. Pinto Sack asks, maybe they're running Windows 3.1.
So during coast in the zero gravity of environment of space,
It's very difficult to transmit on the fly.
Wait, what do you mean on the fly? They didn't have hundreds of billions of dollars and decades to prep it? I mean, look at this guy's face. This reminds me of the Office Space scene where they're asking, I forgot the name. Was it Smikowski or whatever? The guy that gets hit by a truck, and they're asking him, "What would you say you do here?"
If you will, and get that all the way back to.
I gotta bring that image up because that is too good to not put on the screen. This I mean, he even looks like the guy. He even looks like the guy, though. He looks like the guy, too. Hold on, let me get the animated version. Ah, the animated version's not working. But doesn't he look like the guy? Oh, man. Oh, man. What would you say you do here? So do you actually hand the paperwork to the customer? Well, no.
Earth.
Struggle to get communications.
Unfortunately, they're going to be in the darkness. They will not be sunlit, so we won't get very good video of them.
Tip of the iceberg at its beginning for people to realize, wow, this was an incredible success.
A success with no evidence of it?
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.
People telling me how, like, oh, it's so funny that you keep saying that we landed on the moon, but you don't even have any pictures to prove it yet. And I'm like, yeah, it's because I don't need a picture to prove it, right? I don't need a picture. They all were saying how we were so dumb for believing it without any pictures. You're not always going to get pictures.
What? What? I mean, did they at least supply the telemetry data? I wonder if they released the telemetry data.
Over a dozen funnies on the list. Issues,
Challenges.
A dozen funnies on the list?
glitches, phenomenon, problems,
idiosyncrasies, anomalies.
Idiosyncrasy. This reminds me of that 9/11, on that why 9/11 was allowed to happen. And it was the guys. Do you want me to play that clip? I want to play that clip now. And they don't want me to play that clip either. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Huh. Now I really want to get it because they don't want me to put it up. Man, why does YouTube have to be so annoying? Man. Okay. Okay, I think I got this fixed. Give me a couple more seconds. Okay. Alright. Almost there. Almost there. It is very relevant here, so you guys will see for those that haven't seen this clip. It reminded me of these guys' explanations as well.
On the morning of September 11th, 2000,
Just play the end of it.
raid, which wasn't recorded on, he dumped his body in the ocean before telling anyone about it. Then a couple dozen of that team's members died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan. This is the story of 9/11, brought to you by the media which told you the hard truths about for oil in history.
Bin Laden.
The administration knew within the day,
Terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them.
and the evidence literally fell into the FBI's lap.
That a hijacker's passport was found blocks from the World Trade Center crash site, if you can believe that.
But for some reason, a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists demanded an investigation into the greatest attack on American soil in history. That investigation was delayed, underfunded, set up to fail, a conflict of interest, and a cover-up from start to finish. It was based on testimony extracted through torture, the records of which were destroyed. It failed to mention the existence of WTC-7, Able Danger, P-TECH, Sibel Edmonds, OBL and the CIA, and the drills of hijacked aircraft being flown into buildings that were being simulated at the precise same time that those events were actually happening. It was lied to by the Pentagon, the CIA, the Bush administration, and as for Bush and Cheney, well, no one knows what they told it because they testified in secret, off the record, not under oath, and behind closed doors. It didn't bother to look at who funded the attacks because that question is ultimately of little practical significance. Still, the 9/11 Commission did brilliantly answering all of the questions the public had, except most of the victims' family members' questions, and pinned blame on all the people responsible, although no one so much as lost their job, determining the attacks were
failure of imagination.
Doesn't the guy on the left remind you of this guy? Failure of imagination, when they literally had reports that years prior that planes could be used to fly into buildings. So clearly it wasn't a failure of imagination, but this is the official reason given. And now we have these goofs here. They remind me of this guy from Office Space, and then this guy saying failure of imagination. That's what these goofs remind me of when explaining why there's no footage.
At least they're actually getting footage. Why would we?
Wait, what footage are they getting? What footage are they getting?
Why would they go out there and fake something and then go, oh, we accidentally snapped one of the legs and it's tilted over 30 degrees?
So that you can ask that question.
It makes it look more legitimate and authentic in a way. Same way with having the footage be poor, because it's like, well, if they were faking it, why wouldn't they make it look better? Well, actually, they wouldn't, because it's harder to tell that it's fake when it's not very good.
That's a good point. When you take a grainy, low-res photo of or video of something that actually is real, it's kind of hard to see what's in the frame. That is very true.
If it was high definition and they really went all out, like Interstellar and stuff, you'd be able to figure it out. Or figure out that it's fake. You certainly can't do anything like that live. Secondly, it obviously gives them an excuse to not give you everything, right? Now you're not expecting as much because it tipped over. It wasn't completely successful. It's brilliant script writing to fake it, but to appease people as if they really landed on the moon.
It's just CGI and propaganda, selling it to the masses, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, dude, they're not doing that good of a job at it, really.
Wow. We got one more clip here from Robot Polisher as well. This one's a doozy. This one's gonna be fun too. We got McToon in the house.
I haven't brought up relativity as being observable or provable or anything. I'm talking about gravity, which is Newtonian, not Einsteinian.
If you believe in the current model of Earth, then you subscribe to relativity.
I'm not talking about that right now. You can...
Well, for example, McToon would never be able to pass any kind of quiz on basic definitions or logic.
empirically verify that mass attracts mass.
How, though? How is that empirically verifiable? And does he understand what a false cause logical fallacy is? Does he understand what controls are so you know the force you're measuring is a result of A instead of B? Notice how none of these anti-flat earth goofs ever address that.
You know, gravity does not work on the quantum scale. So, you know, of course, to be fair.
It's not claiming to work on that scale, so that's not a problem.
Okay, so you are conceding that gravity is not cohesive with observations on the quantum level.
Sure. 100% mass attracts mass.
How do you detect the Earth moving around the sun from the Earth?
There's many ways to do that.
Such as? I mean, I have no idea how this guy has any followers. At least Craig is entertaining. Like, McToon, it's difficult to get through his stuff. I mean, his mental disability is so severe, and he's just not as entertaining as Craig's. I mean, Craig's soy meltdowns and spirals, I mean, they're kind of hilarious in a way. There's entertainment value there. With McToon, I mean, he's just basically unwatchable.
That something was hanging?
Hanging from a wire, yes.
Okay, where's the wire coming from?
Is connected to a gimbal at the top.
Where's the gimbal connected to?
The gimbal is connected to the apparatus to hold it up.
Okay, what's the apparatus connected to, McToon?
I don't, could you just get to your point?
Whatever the gimbal's connected to is connected to the Earth. There is no independent frame of reference.
I mean, look at this goof's face. I thought actually Witsit was going with the electromagnetic variable. So it's not the mass attracting mass because the electromagnetic forces are not being considered. I went over that briefly. I'm guessing they're talking about Cavendish here, but regardless, how can you claim it's mass attracting mass, or if it's even some kind of gyro? If it's something that's not independent from the charge of the Earth, I mean, Austin's talking about something even simpler here, the reference.
McToon.
I don't really care for your words.
Can you imagine on any professional debate if a goof said, I don't care about your words? It's not about the words. It's about the content of the words completely decimating his argument and showing him he doesn't even understand what a frame of reference is or what the scientific method is. So his only cope here in his triggered state is to say, I don't really care for your words. I mean, is that some kind of like menopausal woman comeback? Like, I don't care for your words. I mean, they completely dodge the meaning of everything, all logic and reason in the actual arguments. I mean, this is like a menopausal woman tactic. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to use this type of tactic.
In semantics there?
Wait, how is that the scientific method is semantics? I mean, you would think this guy could have better copes.
There are many ways to measure the orbit of the Earth around the sun. So,
But he just can't name them. And if McToon's saying there are ways to directly measure the Earth's orbit around the
I mean, can he name one? I mean, these kind of reification fallacies and appeal to ambiguity fallacies, or appeal to vagueness fallacies. I mean, this kind of nonsense. I mean, it would pick any other topic. This goof would be laughed out of the room if he couldn't cite a simple example.
sun, then he's claiming relativity is incorrect, but he's too incompetent to grasp what relativity actually says, so he projects his own intellectual ineptitude onto me.
No result. No result.
A negative result
would be evidence for a stationary
No,
Earth.
it's not. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It's a nothing result.
And in that experiment,
If they're talking about Michelson-Morley, it actually wasn't even a true null. It was rounded to null. So this guy doesn't even know the details of the experiment in the first place. I mean, you could see his unhinged lunacy on his face here. I mean, this guy's clearly an unhinged loon.
if the Earth were stationary, what would you measure?
What would you measure if the Earth was stationary with the Michelson-Morley experiment?
You'd have the same thing.
Question
What?
of how do you measure stationariness is a stupid question. If the Earth is stationary, then any attempt to detect motion of the Earth would be negative. You don't.
Well, also, it depends on the ether and whether or not you were detecting the movement of the ether itself, right? So it's not quite that simple, but
Measure stationary. That's stupid.
You can measure stationary. Of
How
course
so?
you can. You create a device that's designed to measure rotation. If it comes up with 0 rotation, you've measured stationariness.
So when we measure for orbit, we get none.
Oh, I said rotation, not orbit.
Orbit is a rotation.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's mentally gone. I mean, see, how do you have any kind of rational discussion with a guy this mentally gone? I brought this example up for people that want me to debate Craig of Fight the Flat Earth or whatever. If a toddler really wants to get an adult to box them in the boxing ring, and the toddler's convinced, the toddler has all these cheerleaders who are egging him on, cheering him on, saying, "You got this, you got this." What would be the point of the adult to get in the ring with that toddler? What would be the point? Just because people want to see it? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Do you concede and agree with Einstein?
This guy's so triggered, he didn't even hear the question about the concession, and he already said no.
That the Machian principle is valid? Yes or no?
I'm not. No, I don't know.
This guy's so exposed. Man, this guy got obliterated. This was a debate between him and Whitson? I don't remember this one, but I mean, this level of obliteration. I mean, how did he ever show his face again after this? He just laughed at his own incompetency?
Does it physically contract it overall?
Within our reference frame, I will say that it does not.
But in reality, it does. It's just our whole reference frame also contracts, right?
I mean, this guy doesn't seem to understand anything about these topics. Like, he doesn't even seem to have a basic fundamental grasp of the concepts here.
So you don't understand it.
Oh, I certainly do.
He says he does, but all of his actions and micro-expression, I mean, he's got his hand on his lips here, almost like subconsciously trying to keep himself from talking and looking stupid, which he's already been doing. I mean, just really, really exposed here by his subconscious.
No, you don't.
And notice how he couldn't actually refute any of the points or demonstrate competency. He could only say, "Oh, I do understand it," without actually demonstrating understanding.
You literally don't.
All right, come on.
Are you starting to notice that, like, you can't debate me about it? But,
his next cope is just laughing. I mean, that's the only cope he has left here. I mean, this is weird.
I would like to say, though, McTin, can you please do me a favor? Because, like, just to continue in good faith, I would really prefer if you would just be honest and you would concede the first part, which is that you concede the validity in the Machian principle and that you must, according to... Can you just concede that part?
I'm sorry. No.
With a lot of these mentally disabled narcissists, I mean, they can't concede anything about anything, even if it proves their own point, because they're basically at the emotional maturity level of a 4-year-old, and the mental disability is too severe to even understand what's going on here, and the narcissism prevents them from even examining the situation.
So you disagree with Einstein?
I don't.
Whatever. Man, I don't even want to go over this video for an analysis. At least Craig would come up with some kind of meltdown theatrics. This guy's just lazy with his goofery. I mean, this is lazy goofery. I mean, we gotta expect some kind of theatrical goofery, like from Craig. I mean, McToon here, this kind of lazy goofery. I don't know if I've ever seen goofery this lazy.
Don't care.
Oh my god.
He doesn't care about agreeing with Einstein on a flat Earth debate.
God, what did relativity do to reconcile those negative results?
I don't know. Don't care.
It's the whole position that you hold is that the evidence does support a stationary Earth.
No, it doesn't.
But literally your position is that the evidence supports that the sun moves around the Earth, that the Earth is stationary, but that since relativity is true.
No, that's not my position.
No, this is objective.
This is objectively you strawmanning me. That's not my position.
So he doesn't believe in relativity. Or does he?
Relativity says that although the result and the evidence appears to show us that the Earth is stationary, it's actually just an illusion.
Whatever.
Oh yeah, his argument is whatever. I mean, this is a supposed legit. I mean, some people think he's a legit debater, right? I mean, he's fooled a certain percentage of his followers, right? I mean, what's the story here?
Doesn't help you.
So you agree with that though, right?
No, it does not appear to be stationary.
What did relativity put forward that reconciled the negative results?
Yeah, coming up with better experiments. Like Michelson.
Relativity put forward coming up with better experiments?
I mean, this guy isn't even on a basic English level. He doesn't even understand what Whitstead is asking or saying. I mean, it's not even a fundamental kindergarten English level comprehension.
Yeah, you asked the question, I answered it. Better
that isn't an answer.
In the future, it absolutely is.
Oh my god, that isn't the answer.
Oh, it is. It is the answer.
So,
you don't like it. I don't care that you don't like it.
Wow, subconscious is projecting accurately. He doesn't like what Whitstead is saying.
Like it hurts you because it contradicts your desperately held position.
Wow, his subconscious is on point here. Wow. I mean, does he really not understand what psychological projection is? It's actually kind of crazy how many goofs don't understand psychological projection because they expose themselves so obviously, but they're too clueless to realize that's what they just did.
I don't care. It doesn't
wow,
matter.
This
that's
is crazy.
The answer.
So
that's the answer, Austin.
That isn't the answer because he had not done better experiments yet. Just like you said, he's not a time traveler. So he wouldn't be claiming that relativity reconciled something by something that happens in the future. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
he's obviously saying that relativity helped reconcile the negative results they had up to that time. So the question is, well, what does relativity specifically do that helps fix that problem of negative results?
I don't know. Go ahead, Austin. Say it. Go ahead. It's not a logical fallacy. It's been measured.
Can it be recreated in a controlled experiment on Earth?
It doesn't need to be.
I mean, so this guy's anti-science. So scientific experiments don't need to be replicated to be valid? So one guy could just randomly claim something and nobody can ever verify it, and that's fine according to McToon. Because it doesn't need to be replicated. Wow. Wow.
I'm talking about the harmonic nature of the sun and the moon. You're laughing and you just now said zillion to 1 odds is realistic.
I don't give a damn about the odds.
So basically, a lot of his arguments are, I don't care, whatever. And this guy has some kind of a following. Let's see how many subscribers he has. I mean, this is kind of crazy. I mean, fight the flat earth. The subscribers kind of make sense, because if people like to laugh at his goofery. So is McToon's... How many channels does McToon have? There's a McToon live channel. Oh, that is McToon. 20.6 thousand subscribers. That's kind of a lot for a guy that brings nothing at all to the table. Like, Craig is so hilarious with his goofery and his soy meltdowns. It kind of sort of makes sense that people might subscribe to Craig just to laugh at him. But McToon, how did he get... McToon got over 20,000 subs. I mean, maybe he paid for them. But...
It doesn't matter at all. So you're saying that Kepler's laws don't work?
I'm saying that they've never been recreated on Earth.
So what?
Specify what type of refraction is causing that to happen.
Looks to me like a coefficient of refraction of 2 or more.
That is not a type of refraction.
I don't care.
He doesn't care that he doesn't understand any of the questions and he can't answer any question, but he doesn't care that he can't.
I don't care to categorize the refraction. I don't care for the categories. Pressure requires containment. I'll take that, yes. There is no claim that there's a pressure adjacent to a vacuum. There is containment, and it is gravity.
Okay, so high pressure will migrate to the low pressure?
Yes, but somehow, where this balloon is, it didn't happen. Strange.
It's still within the containment, McToon.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You had a bunch of the same people that are in your chat right now pretending I'm stupid.
Yeah.
But you do understand that even though Lorentz contraction was originally postulated...
It's your giant ego, Austin.
I mean, the one thing we can say about McToon is his subconscious does appear to be functioning properly through the psychological projection. If there's one thing we can say, we can say that.
You're massively huge. It does require a container.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.
As witless, you would need to have more than a 6th grade education to talk about grown-up topics like relativity.
So clearly he doesn't.
Yeah.
This is bad, bro. This is painful, man. This is why I almost didn't agree to do.
You haven't supported your claim. You're saying the natural antecedent. Say it again.
Natural antecedent to gas pressure is containment.
Yeah, and okay, so I agree to containment. Yep.
Physical containment.
Oh, physical. Okay.
Stop playing semantics. This is wizardry.
Yeah,
You keep doing that.
I have my intuitive version of the world that thinks that the Earth is rotating and spherical. This is so dishonest.
Oh,
yeah,
you just don't understand. You're out of your league. I'm much smarter than him. I'm Austin. I'm so smart.
The guy's like a 4-year-old. I mean, this is a supposedly grown functional adult behaving like this? Wow.
All the people that think they're smarter than Einstein. It's so funny.
Way to go. I mean, this guy's mentally unhinged. He's obviously got a lot of mental health issues. He's got some mental disabilities. I mean, this guy's mentally gone. Is that a fake laugh? He's like choking now.
Oh, you're so dumb.
Orbit is a rotation.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
How much drugs is this guy on?
You're stupid.
Einstein, that the Machian principle is valid, yes or no?
I'm not, no, I don't know.
You're so stupid. How can you be that stupid?
Man, his subconscious is just roasting him. But can you blame it? If you were McToon's subconscious, what would you think of the conscious mind? I mean, I kind of feel bad for McToon's subconscious mind, because his subconscious mind understands what's going on here, but it can't do anything about it because it can't communicate directly with the conscious mind.
Just our whole reference frame also contracts, right? See, you don't understand it.
Oh, I certainly do.
No, you don't. You literally don't.
All right, come on.
Okay, let me explain it to you.
Oh my gosh. You should definitely get yourself fitted for an iron lung in case you forget to breathe.
What? What?
Oh my god.
How is this guy not in a mental institution?
You're stupid.
You're just such a moron.
You disagree with Einstein?
I don't know. Whatever. Don't care.
Oh my god.
Oh, I mean, seriously, I don't want to be mean, but you deserve it. You do.
I mean, his subconscious says he deserves to be called out on his stupidity. I mean, who are we to argue with McToon's subconscious?
All right, put your helmet on and go to bed.
He goes to bed with a helmet? I mean, I guess I'm not surprised, but that's kind of weird.
Oh my gosh. Oh. And his tiny little brain thinks, I'm smart. I'm so smart.
What did relativity do to reconcile those negative results?
I don't know. Don't care. No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh, gosh, you're so dumb. No, it does not appear to be stationary. You're so dumb. Oh my gosh. You don't know, Austin. You don't understand.
I mean, this guy's clearly an unhinged loon. Loon McToon. Wow. Wow. Yeah, he does look like Gary Busey, doesn't he? An even crazier, more demented version of Busey, if that's believable. Dylan Heron says he's laughing on the outside but crying on the inside. That's kind of what it looked like, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just tough to look at McToon in any way, just because the entertainment value's just not there like with Craig. I mean, Craig's always spiraling and breaking down over every little thing, and it's kind of funny if you find those antics kind of funny, but yeah. Yeah. Jeff Hunt in the chat says, Toon has made more flat earthers than anybody. I don't know. I mean, Craig seems to be one of the top flat earth recruiters. I mean, McToon's lazy style of goofery, it almost comes off less dumb saying, I don't care, than saying energy is whatever you want it to be. Like Craig does. I mean, I had to recover for at least a day because my ribs hurt so much from laughing at Craig humiliate himself against Caleb in that one debate. I still have to finish that one. Oh man. Yes, Pink Sparrow. Over time, things happen is another Craig banger. Oh man. So yeah, a lot of entertaining stuff here. A lot of entertaining stuff. We'll be back for plenty more. I mean, if anybody has a couple questions, we'll take a couple questions and then we'll round this edition out. Trendy now says, watching McToon is like watching a Psycho movie. Nominal says, Professor Dave is a champion of conversion, no doubt. Justin Johnson says Easter's whatever you want. it's a person-to-person thing. For people who haven't seen the last Goofatorium episode, check that out. We watched the collapse of Western civilization in real time through street interviews. Sphinx Bear says Reptilian stream was pretty good. Watched it the other day. Yeah, I got part 2 coming up within the next few days. I'm actually working on quite a few analyses, Boggin. It's so time consuming. It's tough. I'm trying to get the AI to automate some of it. Jeff Hunt asks, why do you think the P-1000 is discontinued, Bruce? Apparently, wasn't it some kind of NASA contract? But, I mean, it doesn't matter that it's discontinued because you could still buy them. You can buy, you know, they manufactured a certain amount. They're going to be sitting in warehouses and stores, so you can buy brand new ones that were never used. Just because it's discontinued doesn't mean you can't get it. Lord Zed asks, do we have homework, Bruce? On the next general Q&A, we're going over, I believe are we going over the Hidden from 87? I think we got to do that one. Oh, Heracles says, I've been training for the next Mindshock Olympics. Yes, that will be coming up soon as well. We got a lot in the works. Boggin says, so much content, so little time. Well, that's why I got to exist outside of time and space, my friend. Justin Johnson says, by the time they admit the Earth is flat, it will already be normalized, in my opinion. Well, that's actually a very, very interesting statement. I don't think we've ever dissected that statement. Because, like, with many other conspiracies, like, if it comes out tomorrow that the CIA killed JFK, like, officially, not, but, like, full out news broadcast, or that, you know, would anybody be surprised? Now, I think if they put out the moon landing was faked tomorrow, there would be blowback. But in another 10 years, maybe not. Maybe not. Regarding Flat Earth, I don't know. At some point, if they do, because that is actually interesting, because you have Flat Earth saturating all over the media. In X amount of years, that is an interesting point. If in X amount of years, people would be surprised if the so-called establishment announced it. That's weird. Boggin asked, did you see Elon Musk's wife tweeted that space is fake? Very briefly, I didn't really look at it. I didn't know if it was a real tweet or not. Do you think she was just trolling, though? Because if that would annoy him... Wait, was that his ex-wife or wife? If it's his... Well, either or, it could be a troll job by her. Doesn't mean she really believes that. Dylan says, my mind doesn't get shocked like it used to. In reference to what? Oh, Boggin says X. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that might have been a troll job just because she's trying to get under her skin, whether she believes it or not. Like, even if she does believe it, why tweet about it unless it's to troll him? So, regardless of whether she believes or not, I mean, ex-wives have been known to make statements to annoy their ex-husbands. Not too shocking there. Alright, so... let's, yeah, I'll round it out here. Plenty more to come on a plethora of different topics. Yeah, you guys are training hard for the Logic Olympics. We'll see what happens on the next round. We will see who gets some points. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us. Hope everybody enjoyed another edition of the Mindshock podcast. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. You can become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, Patreon. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.